Welcome to the Obesity Medicine Podcast with your host, Dr. Rentea, board certified in internal medicine and obesity medicine. Here, we talk about a path to metabolic health, and we have real conversations about chronic weight management and living a full life. Just a reminder, I am a physician, but I'm not your physician. So everything that's on this podcast is for informational purposes, but please go talk to your doctor about what's right for you. There is no medical advice being given on this podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. How are you all doing? We're going to talk shortly here real quick about, I've been getting a lot of messages, actually both from US listeners and Canadian listeners. So I'll tell you why. People asking, hey, I'm on tirzepatide, whether it be Mounjaro or Zepbound, same thing. Just from a cost standpoint, it's unaffordable. People are asking about switching to semaglutide. The reason it's popping up in Canada that people are asking me is because in Canada, subcutaneous semaglutide is going generic this year. So everyone's thinking, okay, can I switch to that because it's more affordable long-term to maintain? We'll have some conversations about, I've gotten a few different questions in different ways, and I'll see what I see clinically. But I want to tell you just real quick. So I've been knee deep in planning these 2 retreats that I have coming up, right? In person in Indianapolis, Indiana. And part of what I love about a retreat, so me, myself, over the past 5 years, I have attended so many different retreats, larger, smaller, things like that. I tend to like more the smaller retreats with 20 people or less. You just get to know people a lot more. You actually get something out of it. It's not only when I go to a retreat that I love the people, the connection, what I learn, all of that. It's that you also usually get to try different snacks and meals. These are things that maybe it's not normally what you would be doing. You're exposed to what someone else likes, what they think is valuable, things like that. Part of what I'm really enjoying about planning these retreats is really thinking through, okay, what snacks, what meals, what are we going to do? Because I only want to bring what I think is the best of the best. So jump to the part where I'm thinking about the breakfast for people, right? So yes, there's the Greek yogurt and the fruit and da-da-da. Okay, but there's this granola, guys, that is out of this world amazing. I'm not even a granola girl. Okay, I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing granola. I've never bought granola. This is like not a thing. There's Nutrail, which is like a nut-free granola, but I don't really consider that granola. It's like, it's nuts that you're putting on something. So this is not sponsored, by the way. They have no idea who I am. But there's a farm. It's Orchard Pond. So orchardpond.com. I'll make sure that we link it down below. And they have this old-fashioned granola that, guys, when I say this is amazing, I literally could eat the whole 8-ounce bag at once. So the way that I got introduced to it months ago here, I went to Chicago and I was staying with my sister, and my family is part of this organic food co-op. And so part of it, it's like very old school. You have to literally drive into the bowels of the city of Chicago, and you're waiting in line at this lady's house. It's so funny because all the other neighbors are like, what is happening? Because in Chicago, people walk home and everyone's just looking over like, that's so weird. Why are all these people lined up outside this lady's house? Long story short, we get all this food. We're on the way home. I'm ravenous. It's late on a Thursday or Friday night. So I'm opening this bag of granola. I'm thinking, well, what the hell? I'm hungry. I'm just going to have a few bites of something. Guys, it was the best thing I'd ever eaten. So they do have 2 different kinds of granola. The one that I'm talking about is their old-fashioned one. It's a green bag if you're looking online. They also have one that's a nut-free granola. That one looks amazing as well. That's in a purple bag. But anyway, the green bag, I want to read you the ingredients here because it's so super simple, but when you have it, it has this amazing flavor. It's a little bit sticky together, but not overly, and it's nice and soft, but not too soft, and the sweetness is just perfect. Just everything really is perfection as far as different consistencies throughout the granola, all of it. Everything is organic. So it's organic rolled oat, coconut flakes, banana chips, almonds, honey, olive oil, all that organic, and then a little bit of salt. So the flavor, the ingredients are so simple, but the flavor is just amazing. So anyway, I just put in a massive order so that we can have it at my retreat. So I got not only the bigger bags, but they also have, and I love when companies do this, they have 1-ounce bags, single serve as well. I really love that from a, not only if you're taking it on the road, like being able to travel with it standpoint, but also from a portion control standpoint. I am someone that loves when something is already portion controlled for me because then I don't need to think about it as much. And while I'm all about learning how to work with your body and listening to hunger signals and all that kind of stuff, I do think that honestly, sometimes when a food is really just tasting amazing, I'm very grateful when it's already portioned. I was already thinking about, for the people at my retreat, if they're wanting a snack, if it's pre-portioned, if they're wanting it as part of something, it's sometimes nice when it's already done for you. So anyway, just made the biggest purchase of my life. for them, but I can't recommend them enough. The flavor is just out of this world. If you're a granola person out there, I think this is worth you trying. All right, so let's talk about today's topic. I'm going to read you roughly an email that I got just so you can get a sense of why we're talking about this. So someone wrote in here, this person's asking, they're saying, I'm in Canada, I've lost 90 pounds on Mounjaro. My doctor and I have been having the discussion of what to do for maintenance. And I'm just going to recap here. The doctor says, look, I think the best thing is to stay on the medication, but this person has been paying out of pocket and they're looking at the cost of living going up and they're looking for cheaper options. The doctor's then saying, hey, what about Ozempic/Wegovy? Because down the pipeline in Canada here coming up, it's going generic. So he's thinking, hey, you can use that to maintain. And this person's asking, what's your experience been with switching someone over? Or have you heard anything about whether this is something that can possibly work? Here's the thing that matters, and this is why I'm reading this part. I tried Ozempic before Mounjaro, but never got to the highest dose because I felt defeated. It didn't feel effective for them. Thanks in advance. Okay, so here's what I want to talk about. Let's talk about scenarios where it would make sense to switch to another option to maintain. There are realities to the world. In an ideal world, we would not have to make decisions based on finances. Things would be covered. We wouldn't have to do these mental gymnastics. We're going to say it once, just so everybody, if you're new here, you hear this. It's not right that we think of this as aesthetic. This is a very complicated multifactorial disease that deserves treatment. But unfortunately, the way that our world is right now, it's something where you have to prioritize your own health and pay cash for it potentially. And that's just a crime all on its own. But let's ignore that for a second. Let's just talk realities of the world. So if you are someone that didn't ever respond to semaglutide to begin with, so that's Wegovy, Ozempic, you were taking it and you're like, I don't really feel much effect. It wasn't, maybe you couldn't even lose 5%, or you barely lost 5%. You were on it just month after month after month. And you were thinking, this is just really, nothing's changed for me here, how I'm feeling. And then you switch to tirzepatide, which is Mounjaro Zepbound. And suddenly, boom, you start to get the results. You start to get the help. For those people, let's take this scenario where you've lost 90 pounds. I do not see it work out well when that person tries to go back to semaglutide to maintain. That person, I don't think that it will work out well. Now, if you were someone where you started on semaglutide and you were getting results, you were getting help, but you were not responding as robustly as everyone else, or you didn't lose as much total as you needed to lose, all those kind of things. And then you switched to tirzepatide in order to get more of a boost, to get a higher fat loss percentage, to get more help with food noise, all those kind of things. If you already responded to semaglutide, but you went to the other one, you went to tirzepatide just to get more help, quote unquote, those people potentially do fine to come back to semaglutide to maintain. But if you never had a response to begin with, it's almost pointless to come back to it to maintain. Okay, so that's just what I've seen clinically. This is not hard and fast. Everybody is different. Everybody responds differently, but that's just what I've seen. Now, let's say that coming back to semaglutide is your only option. You just can't afford anymore the other one. What I would do clinically for my patient, if they were under my medical care, is that I would look, are there other oral options that we can add on? So for example, like a generic Contrave, which is Wellbutrin, which is bupropion, and also naltrexone. Can we help with another pathway that's being affected? Can we help more with urges and cravings with the Wellbutrin, naltrexone, and then you're getting some of the help from the GLP-1? When you were on it to begin with, maybe that GLP-1 wasn't enough, but maybe it was helping some. And now if we also help with those other pathways with urges and cravings and dopamine and all the other signaling, potentially that could be enough to help you with maintenance. Or does there need to be metformin involved? There's all these other medications that we have. What I would look at is, even if you didn't respond to it, maybe it's that you need more of a combination. Well, the main thing is this: you need to be working with someone that's familiar with making these changes. And then it's not just like, okay, you can't afford it. We go to this other one. Oh, well, it's hard. Okay, who cares? There's a nuance to all of this that can be done. So just to recap, if you never responded to begin with just semaglutide and you went to tirzepatide, now you're trying to come back to that, probably life's going to look pretty hard. And the reason I bring this up is that this is already hard enough, even when you get on a medication and you get help from a standpoint of less food noise and you're getting help metabolically. That's the thing you're getting help on. That's the reason you're able to do this. It's hard enough to do all the lifestyle things and all the things that are required. And even if you stay on the Mounjaro, that tirzepatide, you still potentially 6 months, 1 year, 18 months, 2 years down the road are really going to have a time of struggling again. So it's one of those scenarios where I really try everything in the world to not have to go back to something that was ineffective, or if we do, to really look at, let's very quickly get other supports in place with either other medications or other interventions that we're going to do really quickly, and not have you sit there and struggle for 3 months to 6 months and give up on the whole process. So that's the only thing I wanted to go over today, because I know a lot of people are saying, a common scenario that I see right now, people are on subcutaneous Zepbound, and then they're saying, well, can I go to oral Wegovy? Well, you can do anything you want. You can always make a change. You can always go back, by the way, but the efficacy is potentially lower. What happened before you ever did the Zepbound? Where did you already try the other medication before? These things need to be watched very closely. Everyone is very different. And I love the fact that we're having so many options, but it's the switching over that's where some of the art and the nuance lies. Something that's interesting that I'm hearing with oral Wegovy that's taken daily, I was thinking, oh, would the steady state be better? And what I mean by that is when you take a weekly injection, oftentimes people, maybe the first 3-4 days are helped, but then they struggle the second half of the week until they take the medication again. So it's very sort of peak and valley. So with tirzepatide, max effect is within 72 hours. So maybe within 3 days or within 1-2 days after the injection, you feel it get to a peak. You have help for a day or two, but then you struggle again. So different people are metabolizing this medication faster or not, and struggling more or less than others. And so I thought, okay, when it's a daily medication, would some of that be gone? But what I hear is within an hour of them taking it, supposedly it's max absorption and concentration, but then in the evening they struggle. So it's like, okay, great. Now we have daily, you're taking this, but you still have a struggle bus period. What I really want to normalize is this. There is no medication that is perfect. Some of you will have perfect times. You will have these bliss periods when the food noise is all down or you're losing easily and all the things are happening. But remember, this is a chronic disease, and it's okay if there's times where you again need to figure things out, or where you need to adjust things, or you need to get creative with things. I really think that you need a physician on your side that is willing to get creative, because when something is super complex that we're dealing with, it's really not a one size fits all for everyone. It's really not. You want to see someone that understands the physiology behind it and can really titrate the things to specifically fit you. So if you're in Indiana or Illinois, I have the Rentea Metabolic Clinic. You see me specifically. I work very closely with you. That would be, you go to renteaclinic.com and you click on telehealth. But even for a lot of other states, there are amazing clinicians as well. Sometimes people email me and they'll ask about, hey, do you know someone in XYZ? Most states I know someone. It's very rare that I don't know a clinician that's good in certain states. Get help from someone that really knows what they're doing, because it's going to make it such that you don't have times where the metabolic help is taken away and then you get sicker. Remember, we're really trying to help with these things long term. I don't think I've mentioned this in a while on the podcast. One of the reasons that we're doing all this is one of the things that I care about is reduced risk of cancer in the future. And so we know that there are 13 types of cancer where if your weight set point is up long term, you're at increased risk of getting them. And one that I don't know why I just see this a lot is renal cell carcinoma. And partly it's because my patients in the past might have been a smoker, so that contributes as well. But not everybody's a smoker that has this. It's the weight that can contribute to it. I bring this up because a lot of people, after having thyroid cancer, after having renal cell carcinoma, after these things, will come to work with me because they understand the hormonal aspect of how it's playing into these cancer, either occurring or recurring. I bring this up because, again, this is just not an aesthetic thing. This is really about your cardiac health, cancer reduction. I could go on and on. There's no organ that is not affected by obesity. That's what I have for today's episode. I just wanted to say something real quick, just so that I didn't forget to mention it here. I have registration open for the September 30-30 round. Now, some of you might be hearing this. You're thinking, oh my Lord, that's 100 years away. The reason I'm bringing this up is that some people really want support between rounds. What I'm doing differently for this next round is that whenever you join, you'll start to get monthly access to a live Q&A call that I do. So potentially if you join, let's say in February, March timeframe, you get a monthly call all the way up until September when we actually start start the program. This is a good opportunity if you're someone that you want to ask me questions. You get to submit those ahead of time and I can answer your questions, help you along the journey a little bit more. And then number two, what's nice is there's a really big variety of questions on that call. So people ask about different supplements, they ask about different body composition things. There's a big range of what's happening. I hope that you all have a great rest of the week. I'm really holding hope at this point that there's going to be more sunlight during the days and that we're soon going to be out of winter, because this is the time of year when I'm over it. Remember, if you're struggling a little bit, that's okay. Life will get easier. Get back to the basics. Get back to the things that support you, the water, the protein, the fiber, the movement. You can do this. All right. See you Friday. That marks the end of today's episode. But if you're newer to the podcast, I want to tell you about something that we have, and it's a free podcast roadmap. So this is perfect for any of you that are listening where you want to be directed to very specific episodes. So let's say that you are just starting out and you want to know, what should I do right when I start on the medications? Or you're experiencing certain side effects on the GLP-1s, or you want to know what to do if you're in a plateau, or if emotional eating is taking over, or if hunger levels are high. So we have many different categories of episodes that we've talked about, because there's a lot at this point. So if you want to be able to navigate that very easily, we have it broken down by category and also the episodes that are there, and we hyperlink to everything. So you can just click on it and find the episode, easy peasy. If you want that, you can go to renteaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. We'll have it linked right here underneath the show notes where you're listening. And you can go ahead and get that free resource so that it makes it easy for you to navigate, because I know that it's really hard when someone has an established podcast. I am such a podcast fiend, listening to podcasts all day long. And when I find one that I love, but there's a lot that are out there, I am so lost. So I hope that you enjoy this free podcast roadmap. Again, the link to get to that is going to be renteaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.